then, we started going out and helping her work her cattle, and these are horned cattle, mind you, and we took that risk, and we had helped her work the cattle and stuff for probably about 3 or 4 times, and helped her bottle feed calves and shit like that, and never charged anything. Well, then she was really needing some hands one weekend, and we had planned to go ride that weekend. And I told her, well, we got a trip planned, and she's like, well, our other truck was messed up. And she's like, well, if you come out and help us work the cattle this weekend, then we'll help you fix the front end of your truck. Okay, So they bought the parts to help rebuild the front end of our truck that needed rebuilt, and found out later after we started driving the truck that the parts they bought weren't the best quality. But, they bought the parts, and her husband helped my husband rebuild the front end. So that was appreciated. Well, apparently they felt jaded. Well, what had happened the day that we were helping them work the cattle, they had their strip chute, or not, I'm sorry, I'm used to the rope and pin, I'm sorry. Not strip chute, the work chute, and they had the gate that we were supposed to push the cattle into the holding pen. They had the dadgum chute that you work the cattle in, my goodness, maybe 10 feet. No, I'd have to say it was a little bit farther than that. Maybe 10, 15 yards from the cattle chute. And they had that sumbitch right up there within 15 yards of the gate that we're supposed to push the cattle into. Well, it would have made more sense to have the working chute down at the bottom of the pen where we're not pushing the cattle into pressure. That's a lot of pressure on a cow, and that, or put a gate down there in the bottom corner where we could push the cattle in through that, and then there's another separate pen that we could put their cubes and all that shit in to really get them to come in there. But, they were trying to move these cattle into pressure, a lot of pressure, having that chute there. And I said something about that, but, we got as many cattle in there. I'm not gonna put my life I'm not going to mess my horse up on cattle by getting them hurt so they are not good on cattle anymore, So there's only so much pressure I was willing to put these horned son of a bitches under in that situation. So we got as many in the catch pen as we could, into the trap. And there's some that were smarter, and they were not going in that trap. And it's like, you expect us to come out here and work these sons of bitches when you have your shit backwards. See, we're pushing cattle, trying to push cattle into a trap where the pressure is right there at the gate where you're trying to push them in. No go. Got quite a few head in there, not all of them. Then, as we're working them, we're trying to get these cattle pushed up into the pen, the holding pen. You got your trap that traps them all. And then you got a holding pen inside your trap with a little alley, like a sweep, that goes up into the work gate, the work chute. And, so we get them pushed up in there, and that's a shit show. And things are going all right. Come on, I know you've been going for a long while today on rock. But things were going pretty good, for a while. Then the kids go to town. They take the truck to town to get lunch. Well, they get back with lunch, and when they actually left the food in the truck when they got out, when they jumped out to let us know they were here or there. And when they did, they left the keys in the ignition and accidentally locked the door on the truck. So now, instead of working cattle, we're spending a couple hours trying to get the door open on the truck.